Pivot tables in Microsoft Excel is a good way to display a set of information in an easier to read format and easier to manipulate in order to get the answers that you're needing. And the best way to use a pivot table is to take a set of information and to label everything in that set with a title at the top. Once you've done this, this is very important because these labels across the top is going to be the identifier for the pivot table whenever you're filtering or changing around features in your pivot table. So the best way to do this is to select the columns that you're looking for, go to the Insert tab, go to Pivot Table, and you'll be prompted to either put this pivot table in an existing worksheet or a new worksheet, and also the range of the data that you're wanting to include in there. If you highlight the range, it should automatically populate, and if you select New Worksheet, it's going to create a new worksheet automatically. For this tutorial, we're going to keep an existing worksheet, so we'll select Existing Worksheet. You can select this box and tell it the first cell that you want it to enter the pivot table in, and select OK. You'll notice the pivot table is populated, but nothing's really in the pivot table. To your right, you'll see the settings for the pivot table that allow you to change different features of the pivot table how you want them, and we can select any of these, and you'll notice it's not really organizing the data in a very efficient format. It's just kind of stacking it up. The best way to use the pivot table is mostly dependent on the information that you're looking at, but in this case, say we wanted to look at the vehicles and their quantities by color. You'd simply drag or select these items and put them in here, and whichever one you want. If you want rows, it's going to populate them here. If you want columns, it's going to populate them across the top, and it's going to give you kind of a view. Now, at this point, it's only counting the quantity. So in this case, there's 2 blue, there's 1 green. If we come down here to the values, we're able to go to value field settings, and we're able to change. We can change the average, we can change the sum, and in this case sum is probably the best way to depict this information. If you select anything outside of the pivot table, you'll notice that this window closes, but as soon as you click on the pivot table, the options window populates again. Another way to look at this is to take state and add a state to it. You're able to filter by state, filter by vehicle. You're able to come up here and filter by color. Say we only wanted 1 blue instead of 2 blue. And take red and take the blanks out. Now you only have the 3 criteria that you're looking for, and everything is summed up automatically. Another good feature of a pivot table, with a larger amount of data, you're able to update the pivot table. So say we wanted to add say we added 1 record. If we go to the Data tab, you'll see a Refresh All symbol. Select the Refresh All button on the Data tab, and you'll notice that it adds whatever the new records are, and it updates all the information in the table. This is very helpful, and this also keeps your information very organized and very easily filtered and manipulated if you need to use it that way. Definitely comes in handy.